Cayenne pepper is a remarkable herb. Cayenne pepper is a blood mover. And Leviticus 17:11 in the Bible, it says the life of the flesh is in the blood. And basically that's what hot and colds are doing. They're moving the blood. And cayenne pepper will bring blood to an area. Cayenne pepper can be used internally and it can be used externally. Internally, it can be used for a sore throat. You might think, well, that's the last thing you feel like taking if you've got a sore throat. If you take it, yes, it'll tingle, but when the tingle settles down within a couple of minutes, you'll find that the sore throat has been relieved. And you'll notice that it's in the flu bomb. You can also take it for low hydrochloric acid. If someone's has a lot of bloating, that can be low hydrochloric acid. See, this will wake anything up. Internally, out of the gut and into the blood, it thins the blood. What it will also do is it'll open the capillaries and it will strengthen the arterial walls. So it's a great additive to people who've had a stroke or who've had a heart attack. They're often put on blood thinners, no need for blood thinners. You can take the cayenne pepper. How much? You might start with 1/4 teaspoon in a little water 3 times a day. Personally, I think it's the easiest way to take it. 1/4 teaspoon into 1/3 cup of water and just throw it down. Might tingle a little, but then it settles quickly. Some people love it and put it on their food. 3 times a day. 3 times a day. Build up to 1/2 teaspoon 3 times. If someone can't handle that, they could have maybe a capsule 3 times a day. If someone's coming off medication, it's important to have it 3 times a day. Cayenne pepper can be used externally. And where you use cayenne pepper externally, and you might be surprised at what I'm about to say, if someone's had a cut and you sprinkle that into the cut, it'll stop the bleeding. And it can even help to pull the cut together. Obviously, there might be some serious cuts that might need stitches. And you might also remember the other day I talked about pine pitch. Pine pitch can be poured into a deeper cut, and as that dries, it'll seal it. But cayenne pepper can be used to stop bleeding with a cut. Cayenne pepper can also be used to bring blood to an area. And when a person has had chemotherapy, often they suffer from peripheral neuropathy, which means they lose feeling in their feet. And I am told that this is an incredibly uncomfortable experience. One man said, I can't feel my feet, but when I go to bed at night, it feels like there are 2 rocks hanging on the end of my legs. It is so uncomfortable. And so what we did was we put cayenne pepper compresses on the bottom of his feet. So to make the cayenne pepper compress, we fold up a piece of cling wrap a few times, about the size of the bottom of the foot, and we fold over a couple of layers of kitchen paper. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sprinkle some olive oil onto that. And the reason you sprinkle the olive oil onto that is so that it'll cause the cayenne pepper to stick to it. I don't pour the olive oil on that because otherwise it's too much olive oil, and then olive oil will go all through the bed and all through the sheets, and that is no fun at all. So I just dot the paper with a little olive oil, and what you'll see when I've done this, when I put the cayenne pepper on, the cayenne pepper sticks to it. If you don't put the oil on, the cayenne pepper just falls off. But just that little bit of olive oil will cause the cayenne pepper to stay there, and yet it's not enough olive oil so that your socks and your sheets and everything gets oily. And I don't like oil on sheets, so I go to a little bit of extra effort to make sure that this is not going to leak oil. So you'll see that I've just dotted it with a little bit of olive oil. Usually you put about a teaspoon per foot, and the foot goes straight onto this. So I spread that over. And there it is. Now if I hadn't put the oil on, that would all be falling off, yeah? So that's the reason for the oil. And then the foot goes straight onto that. And then you can put a sock on. And if you think it might oil out a bit, you can put a plastic bag over the sock if you so wish. And you put that on both feet. I visited a lady once who had peripheral neuropathy after she'd had her chemotherapy. She's an 80-year-old lady, so I made 6 of these and I just folded them over like that and put them in a snap-lock bag. So she had enough for the week. If I put that on my feet and woke up tomorrow morning, my feet would feel like they were on fire because my feet are always warm. They're always warm because I make sure they're always warm. But if someone had cold feet and they put that on their feet, then by morning their feet are just nice and warm. So it can be used for people with cold feet because feet should never get cold. Perfect health requires perfect circulation, and perfect circulation means that my feet and my hands are the same temperature the rest of my body. And what happens when a person has cold feet and they just let them stay cold, then after a few years they start to lose feeling in the edge of their toes. Do you know, if this continues, those toes will go gangrene and then maybe even be removed. So let's just keep our feet warm. So it's important to keep the feet warm. So that's the cayenne pepper compress that can be put on the feet for peripheral neuropathy, if someone's lost feeling in their feet. And the man who told me that he had no feeling in his feet and it felt like there were lumps or 2 big rocks on the end of his legs, we put the cayenne compress on the bottom of his feet. And in the morning he said, I slept all night, I had no uncomfortable feeling. We missed a night, and I think it's a good idea to give one night a break, and we did it again, and the next morning he said, I've got pins and needles in my feet. Now what's that? That's the first sign of life coming back to his feet. He came to us because he had multiple sclerosis. He was in a wheelchair. The man was late 50s. And at the end of the program, he stood up, he could stand up at this stage, and he had tears. He said, I came here just for a break. He said, I had no idea that I would get this sort of help, just from a cayenne pepper compress. Cayenne pepper is very safe. In fact, there's a book in the library, it's called Back to Eden by Jethro Kloss, and he devotes half a page to every herb and he devotes 10 pages to cayenne pepper. And he quotes 2 doctors in his article. And one doctor says it's impossible to abuse cayenne pepper. Do you know what that means? You could eat a bucket of it a day and it would not hurt you. But I don't know anyone who will do that or who wants to do that. It's a bit of common sense there. And another doctor says it's impossible to cause a lesion, meaning it will never burn you. Might feel like it, but it won't. It'll heal a stomach ulcer. It will never cause one, but it can help to heal one. So that's the cayenne pepper. In fact, it's almost the first aid kit in one, is cayenne pepper.